I guess. Let's try to make a show.
All right. It says that we're
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Greetings and salutations, my wonderful freaks. I am your Uncle Necro, and I welcome you all to the Tomb of the Terrible. It's the show in which I get to lovingly assault your senses with B-movie madness.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Uncle Necro's Tomb of the Terrible. Yes, well, I am a Looney Tune. It's not like one of the names of my family isn't Looney, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I am your humble stand-in and never your replacement, Friday. With me, I have the Chaos and the Ron, and I forgot to put Chaos's name up. I shall fix that in a second. Hello, gentlemen. How's it going?
It is a night.
I'm not dead yet.
Well, luckily for me, you are here with me. So that's nice. The next question is, who has seen this movie before? None of us?
Don't look at me. Hell, I'm not even sure I've seen it this time.
Chaos is going to have to disappear for a moment, and we will continue from there. I guess we'll start with you, Ron. What was your first impression?
My first impression of this movie, let me think. I had no preconceived notions going into this movie because I didn't really know what to expect or what the movie was about. Therefore, I tend to do with it the same thing I tend to do with a lot of cheesy, campy comedy, horror type movies that are in this vein. And I always relate it back to trauma movies like Toxic Avenger. And while this one could have just as easily been a trauma movie, it didn't quite have the same tone, I think, that a lot of trauma movies have. It seemed to be a little more professionally done, I think, than some trauma movies that I've seen before. A little better quality and a bit more psychedelic in colors, and I think that has to do a lot with the subject matter. So overall, it was an interesting movie with some interesting moments, with some interesting things that made it interesting. And that was an interesting answer.
Okay. Yes.
We are all dumber for having listened to that response. I award you no points.
Um, you know, uh, okay, my first impressions was this was a general, it was a monster movie, and it was actually not a very bad movie at all. It had, I'm trying to find somebody because I want to. Part of what I have to say has to do with the book they wrote. It had good monster movies in it. Well, it had a good monster in it. It had the way they delivered it was great. It just I had recently read A Whisper in the Dark by Elizabeth Savici, and Princess is the first thing that came to mind whenever uh, I saw the monster. Not because Princess delivers the psychedelic high that they got in the movie, but because it was a monster that she had to take care of, or they had to take care of to for them to live, and also get its victims so it could eat. Um, so can you remember anything that you liked about?
Yeah, there were several things that I liked about the movie. To go into a little bit for those of you who haven't seen it yet, the movie is about a young man who comes across a parasite that feeds on his brain by
He doesn't
injecting
come
a
across the parasite. It crawls into his bed, and takes over.
yeah. Uh, it injects a needle into the back of his neck and then injects a fluid which causes him to basically trip balls, I think, as the vernacular would say, uh, allowing him to see things beyond uh, normal vision would allow, and it gives him a euphoric effect. So, in my opinion, the movie is rather a metaphor for drug addiction and how bad it can get, but this one just it has more dire
It
consequences,
is.
I think. With it's a parasite that needs to constantly feed. The parasite is rather intelligent, and one of the things I do like is that they go into a background story for the parasite, that he has existed for a while and how it got passed from person to person in order to get to modern day. I thought that that was interesting. The fact that they based it on, I think, some historical lore, which I did not bother to research, so I don't know if it's actually true or not. But they present it in such a way that I could believe that it's true. I don't remember what they named the parasite. If you remember off the top of your head, I know that he made a joke about the name, but I don't remember what the name was.
Um,
But the parasite does have a name,
Elmore or
Elmore,
a
some something to
yeah.
that effect. Well, we'll call him Elmore. I honestly I can't remember his name.
No,
um,
that is it. Elmore, but with the AY.
okay, yeah, Elmore. So I like the fact that they did have a background story for Elmore, the parasite, and how it got passed down from generation to generation to get to this young man, and the fact that it's been feeding off. And it sort of hints at this parasite was responsible for some of nature's most important history happening, but since nobody really knows about the parasite's existence, nobody can actually prove it. So before the parasite is introduced to this young man, it was hosted by an elderly couple uh, who keep it in a bathtub. No, I'm assuming that the water is necessary for keeping it alive, though it's never actually explained why the parasite needs to be in water, especially when it's mostly transported. It clings itself around your waist or to the back of your neck. So I guess it needs to stay moist. They never actually explained why it needs to be in the water uh, when it's not attached to you, I guess, so it doesn't dry out. But some things I did like about it was the movie is somewhat graphic, and it doesn't really chintz out on like the violence and things like that, which I thought was pretty cool. And some things actually surprised me about certain people that die in the movie that you wouldn't normally expect when things start going, the shit hits the fan. So I thought that was pretty cool. Uh,
There was one scene that they had cut out from it for a very long time and only recently put back in.
was it the hotel scene with the gay guy or whatever?
No, it was the one in the alley with the hooker
Okay. Where he comes out of the
where
nightclub.
and he eats the her brains from the soft palate
Yeah.
in that scene.
Yeah. Basically, the scene that she's describing is he goes to a nightclub because he's tripping balls, meets a girl, and they go out into the alley, and she is starting to perform a sexual act on him, and the parasite essentially transfers itself from him to her orally.
Yeah. Um, it's very odd when it comes to Tubi because sometimes they have the cut versions and sometimes they don't. Like of Raz's film, the Slashers Gone Wild, they have the cut version,
Hmm.
but of this one they have the uncut version.
Well, to be or not to
I don't
be,
know if I'm
nobody knows
making
what
any
they
sense.
do. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. So yeah, I mean, there were overall, I thought that it was a rather interesting plot, and it's the kind of thing that you could study it for the metaphor and drug addiction, since that's essentially what the movie is about. Uh, but rather than a
Oh yeah,
drug, it's a parasite and introducing, a euphoric chemical into your brain. Effectively the same thing. He goes through a period of withdrawal too until he gives into the parasite to for another hit.
oh yeah. What were your first impressions?
Very odd.
Alrighty.
Chaos, a man of many words.
It was kind of, it's almost acid trippy.
Yeah.
You're kind of
What
muffled.
were
You're
some
sitting a
things?
little far back, Chaos. I can't really hear you.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's accepting his mic.
Uh-huh.
it was kind of acid trippy.
Passive trippy?
Yeah,
What do you
especially
mean?
at certain points. Definitely a lot of flashy.
Oh yeah, that is why Ardell is not here. She had
Yeah.
wanted to join us, but the movie was flishy, flashy, and blinky.
So
Yeah,
seizure warning, epilepsy warning. If you suffer epilepsy or
acid.
seizures, probably not a good movie to watch.
Yeah, avoid this movie like the plague if you have epilepsy. Otherwise, feel free to torture yourself.
What were some things you liked?
Um, it had an interesting concept to it. And I I really can't say too much about this movie. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Okay.
I have seen a lot worse.
I like the monster. Like the idea of the monster. Definitely one of the more interesting ones. But then again, you saw what I thought about the killer tongue. Um, I definitely would. Re- I I love how there was a backstory for the monster, but also I would love to see more of what he did. And I just get a question sent to me that I did not expect from a neighbor, but that's cool. Um, the I'm trying to figure out work on the list in my head because this has been a brain shattering week. I and the way he kills definitely one of the better parts of the movie. So, okay, gentlemen, what were some things that you disliked? Ron.
One of the things I disliked was that the elderly gentleman that was in the original host before the went to the young man, he knows all the background information on this parasite Elmore, but there's no backstory on him. How how he knows all this information, uh, maybe what he did for a living that he became aware of this parasite in the first place, or what he had to do in order to come into possession of the parasite for himself. And because his wife was in on it with him, and she wanted uh, the hit, she wanted the chemical herself, and she kind of babied it. She kind of babied the parasite, like it was their own child or something like that. But what was the backstory there? Maybe she was totally against it or didn't believe it until she felt the euphoric effects of the chemicals firsthand, and then she was all in on it. Um, it also doesn't really show the long-term effects of repetitive use of this euphoric chemical. You only see like the withdrawal, the detox of it when they're foaming at the mouth and writhing on the floor. But obviously they get over that. We see the elderly couple, they're going through withdrawal, but they're perfectly
Mhm.
fine when they show up later in the movie and wanting the parasite back. And even uh, the the guy, I cannot remember his name. Like I said, it's been like 2 weeks since I watched the movie. Um, our main character, he even goes through withdrawal and does the detox on that motel room floor, but he still comes back to it. He still wants to hit. He still gives in. So, what is the long term effects? If this thing is essentially feeding on brains, then why does the parasite choose to infect certain people with the chemical, but yet eat other people's brains? Or it doesn't explain how does it convert eating people's brains into the euphoric chemical that it's shooting up other people with. there's no science here that I can really follow to figure out what exactly is going on, and I would like to have more information about that. So, but you just sort of take it in stride.
Right.
Okay, some people it kills and it eats their brains. In order to find victims, it has to latch on to somebody that it can control in order to get to that point. Uh, the parasite itself kind of looks like one of the aliens that pops out of the chest in Aliens. You know, uh,
Yes.
same concept, but I thought that they did a pretty good job with it when it shows them like injecting a needle into the base of the neck in order to inject the fluid. You know, so
Okay. To highlight the needle part, it is a purely organic needle that is linked that is part of the monster's being, and the tube hooked to it is leads to wherever this fluid pouch is. The It's all part of this monster. I should have found a picture of its mouth open, but these are the ones I do have. This is the one where he's giving it the blue stuff, as you can tell by his face. Okay, please continue.
So, I mean, that's really the main thing is it doesn't go into a lot of detail about how the parasite actually works. You just get the backstory, how it's passed down from generation to generation, but it doesn't give any reason as to how it actually works or what the long term effects of its being used is. Does it ultimately drain you, or does your brain become so uh, overwhelmed with this chemical that you completely lose touch with reality? Do you step into an alternate dimension, and exist on a different plane of reality? There's a lot of different ways that you could go with it, but none of that is ever really explained. uh, Even to the end of the movie, there's really no explanation of it. It just he essentially just ends up living in a symbiotic relationship with this parasite until the parasite's done with him and wants to move on to somebody else, which like is what it actually did with the elderly couple. So there's no real resolution to it. They end up, I think he ends up killing the parasite at the end, and I think that has to do more with uh,
The old man
keeping it out of water, I think.
crushed it.
Yeah, the old man crushed it at the end.
Crushed it while it was injecting the fluid into the boy's neck, causing it to over inject into the boy's brain, essentially overdosing the boy, which is odd in and of itself.
Yeah, and I think he
Because
does this with like half of
apparently,
his head missing or something. The old man.
yeah, when he ODs, he shoots himself in the head to relieve the pressure of his skull, and all of a sudden, his skull is just very bright light in his brain, where his brain used to be.
Yeah, it's kind of random.
Yeah, and it's just
I mean, it makes me
and
wonder if the parasite was that easy to beat. How come nobody had ever done it before?
I don't know, but they didn't explain the long term effects of this parasite, but they did kind of hint at it. The elder the older couple, the original, well, not the original, but the current day original possessors of this creature, when you first meet them, they're kind of younger and, well, they're younger. But when you see them at the end after their little detox session, they look like they've aged 30 more years.
Maybe injecting a chemical keeps them young for as long as the parasite needs them.
Um, that's kind of what I'm guessing. Either that, and then uh, any prolonged period without receiving the chemical, you start reverting back to what you're supposed to be, or
That's
it
possible. I
just
didn't notice that, but
slowly
that's a
starts.
good point.
Your body adapts to having the chemical, and then without it, you just slowly start withering away.
Clearly, I need to go back and watch this movie again. Not that I really want to.
Hmm, eh, at this point, I'm not saying you ever have to watch it again unless you want to watch it with a friend.
That's probably
Did
about
you
the
have
only time
anything else to
I
add?
would watch it. I don't. I'm proving how long it's been since I've actually seen the movie by not being able to remember a goddamn thing.
Okay,
It's more
the
recent for you than
husbandnator.
me. Didn't you guys watch it
Probably
like
my
earlier
biggest
today?
problem with this movie,
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
my
All right. Well, it was like
biggest
2 or 3
problem with
weeks
the
ago
movie
for
was
me.
actually the beginning of it. My problem was with the beginning of the movie because they start off the movie where they're bringing a the lady comes out with a plate of brains, and then he goes into the bathroom, and all of a sudden starts screaming bloody murder like there's a dead thing in her bathtub or something. And then the guy comes in, oh, they're gone, and then they're tearing the house apart looking for something. And then you meet the new, and then it shoots over to the new host, and he's sick. Doesn't tell you why he's sick, just automatically. And by the time you figure out why he's sick, you're meeting the creature. There's no how the creature got into the boy's apartment. Did it sneak through the drain and then come up in the other apartment drain, or what the hell happened there? They just start the movie out screaming bloody murder and freaking the hell out, and then the boy has a brain eating parasite.
Anything else?
That was the main thing about the movie that annoyed the shit out of me.
Prolonged screaming scenes. Um, one second. I would say okay, the prolonged screaming scenes and well, I think that's like my main problem with the movie. Okay, gentlemen, do you guys have any uh extra things to add as to why you dislike it, what they could have done better, which character you dislike most, any other things you like that you forgot to say?
One thing I like and dislike, his girlfriend's death when they're on the subway train and they're talking. He is trying to repress his urge that the parasite is basically egging him on, and it's like he doesn't want to kill her, and it's actually, I think, done fairly well because it does sort of give that dramatic tension. Is she going to die? Is he going to snap out of it? Is she going to live? Um, so the way that that's done, and she ends up dying, and he finally gives in to the parasite. I think that that's well done. My problem is that there are other people on the train, and nobody notices. She's like laying there
That's
dead.
about normal.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares.
And the whole relationship dynamic. You're crying over him, then you sleep with the brother,
Right?
and then you go after him again.
And how does the
It's
brother
one of
feel
those,
about that?
why are we so stupid?
Well, I think the brother was already jealous because she was with, him anyway. And, he finally got his chance. So how's he going to feel when she leaves him to go back to, her boyfriend?
Well, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to be able to help him regardless because now she's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry guys, a ton of spoilers.
But that's
Nothing-
okay. They don't need to watch this movie anyway. If we have to watch them, so do you. But in this case, we're watching this so you don't have to. This movie gave me brain games. That's why I can't think straight.
They just need to add a lot less screaming at the beginning and a little more introduction.
Yes. Okay. If if neither of you have anything to add, I'm gonna roll the beautiful save footage.
Yeah.
And if you look hard enough, you're gonna be able to find a book that which side are you on? Am I pointing at you, Ron?
No, you're pointing the opposite direction.
If you
There
look
you go.
that way, you'll be able to find him in a book, and you'll actually be able to find my poetry volume.
Yay.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite seems trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Hello, 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 my lovelies, and welcome back to Uncle Necro's Tomb of the Terrible. And we're going to give you what we think. So, Ron, how many brains and would you recommend?
How many brains? Are we still doing out of 10 or is this out of 5? So
This
I'm just
one out of five, I think.
I'm just not thinking that it's deserving of being out of 10. Um, I would give it
Yeah,
3 out
no,
of
it's out of
5
10, I
brains.
think.
I would give it 3 out of 5 brains. If we're doing out of 10, I would probably still give it 3 out of 10 brains. Um,
So 3 out of 10.
yeah, I mean, it's 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 an okay movie, but it's the kind of movie where you can take it or leave it. Like
Alrighty.
maybe if it comes on at like the late show at 1 o'clock in the morning and you're sitting around, maybe you smoked a few and you've had your vodka and your gin and tonics and all of that, and now you're sitting there playing with your mini figurines, figuring out your next uh, game for Warhammer 40K or uh, your next D&D campaign, and it's on in the background. It would make good background noise, but you're probably not going to stop what you're doing to sit down and watch the movie in its entirety. It's that kind of movie. So would I recommend it? Uh, Maybe, just so I would recommend it to my friend Matt because I would like to see what his thoughts on the movie are. And considering that he and I have a lot of the same tastes, I have a feeling he would probably think very similar to me. Like, uh, it's okay, but it's not great. But that's probably the only way that I would ever watch this movie again. It's not bad, but it's certainly not going to be a lasting impression in the annals of horror.
Alrighty.
Eh, I, I'd go with Ron on this one. About 3 out of 10.
You are very
It had a.
quiet, Chaos. I can barely hear you.
I'd have to give it about 3 out of 10. Like you, I. It has an interesting concept to it, but a lot of parts in the movie just kind of fell flat or didn't have enough explanation or purpose.
Hmm. Would you recommend it?
Not really.
Alrighty. Um, I'm going to be the odd one out. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, and I would recommend it to people who like stupid monster movies. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people I know of that I could share with. Um, so yeah, uh, I suppose now we should get into the other matter. I'm going to start with our favorite review site, BNS About Movies.
I was
Paper
just going to
Gold,
ask if they had done a
Drive-In
review of this.
Monsterama. Say what?
I was just going to ask if they did a review of this.
That's why I'm starting there because we have to start with them because we love them.
Okay.
Hopefully, they can fill our love. April Gold's Drive-In Monsterama is back at the Riverside Drive-In Theater in Vandergrift, PA, on April 25th and 6th of 2025. Admission is still $15 per person each night. Children 12 and under are free with adults, and overnight camping is available, breakfast included. You can buy tickets at the show, but get there early and learn more. And it'll give a link. And I realize this is back in April, but they have one. So, beyond being a historian of exploitation films, Frank Henenlotter has made some outright insane movies like Frankenhooker and Basket Case. I've heard a lot of people keep referring back to Basket Case. What other kind of mad genius would hire horror host Zach Girl to be a worm named Elmer? See, I told you, Aylmer, who creates drug-like relationships with his host while demanding to eat the brains of everyone they love. The blue phallic worm secretes a highly addictive hallucinogen directly into the brain, forcing Brian to leave behind his life, his girlfriend, and any hope of normalcy, all while being pursued by the old couple that imprisoned the parasite, who now who know way too much of his history, leading to some of the longest and most hilarious dialogue I've seen in a film. During the palatial scene, yes, a woman puts Elmer inside her mouth. The crew walked out, refusing to work on the scene. There's a great moment where Diane and Bilal from Basket Case meet Brian on a train before he ends up killing his girlfriend. I realize that's a spoiler, but nothing can prepare you for this movie. It's truly one of a kind. And guys, he does suggest watching on Tubi and Shudder with and without the commentary by Joe Bob Briggs. But I did put the link to the movie in our group, like always. Um, hmm.
So how many brains did he give it?
I had got some of
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, up until I purchased this edition on the Blu-ray, I hadn't seen damage since the heyday of videotape. I was pleasantly surprised by how much fun and clever the film is despite being a microscopically budgeted. It had a very small budget and kind of gross exploitation film. I don't remember particularly enjoying the film when I first saw it, but I adore it now. Um, hmm.
That's fair. Maybe that'll be me since I didn't particularly enjoy it the first time around. Maybe another watch.
I've been sorry. I've been a fan of Basket Case for years. Even the two sequels. I didn't even know that it has sequels, but have never seen any other of this director's films. I had high hopes based on some of the reviews elsewhere, but this film just didn't do much for me. Some of the gore is good, some of the scenes are funny. Generally, it doesn't have much story to tell, and what story it does tell is ham-fisted. Okay, I think this one was my favorite. Are you tired of the sameness of Hollywood's overpriced commercialized dross? Check out Mr. Henenlotter's work today. This is a weird film, but in a good way. Elmer is a parasite who will get you high in exchange for brains. The problem was the old people was feeding him animal brains, so Elmer decided to find a new host. The young man was getting so high that he didn't know what Elmer was up to. Elmer didn't care just as he was getting human brains. The film is also a moral warnings about the side effects of drugs. They make you feel great at first, but before long you're addicted to them. You've screwed up your life and you'll literally do anything to get the fluids you're now dependent on. A very black form of comedy with a serious edge to it. The inner city locations provide a excellent atmosphere here. Very original with good writing and neat visuals for such a low budget. Huh. Okay, last one. A movie that is so mind-bogglingly bad, it's actually good. Get this, a small slug creature which resembles a purple turd, I kid you not, controls the young man by secreting blue juice into him. This has the effects of almost every drug, euphoria, hallucinations, and downright dependency. Elmer, the turd's name, then accompanies the man on his walkabout while under the influence and uses him to eat people's brains. This movie is almost on par with any of Ed Wood's masterpiece rubbish. Brain damage suffers from poor visuals, naff script, and bad acting. Wait till you get a load of the German guy. The version I saw was cut, so that didn't help. But you can't help liking this movie for its sheer badness. It's actually a lot of fun and does have a moral. Drugs don't work.
That one's fair.
Yeah, those are some of the better ones I found.
All right.
Better than some of the just the like 3 or 4 word ones that were all saying basically the same thing.
The reviews I always think are funny are the ones that instead of reviewing the movie, they review the delivery service, how they got the movie.
Well, part of that other one was
It came in one piece.
This movie gave me brain
um,
damage. 5 stars. I see the world in a different light now.
so yes, that is our I guess that is our review, guys. Where do you want people to find the Ron?
Are we doing the Wheel of Death?
No, I forgot about that. So tell people where you want people to find the Ron while I get the Will of Death up. Jenny, like I said, Jenny's about half dead.
We all have brain damage from
I
watching this
forgot about
movie.
the
I think
wheel. I
that's
had
readily
everything else
apparent.
written down.
We need to know what we're watching next,
This
Jenny.
has been a long week, guys.
Wheel of Morality. Turn,
No,
turn,
we
turn.
don't.
Tell us
We
the
don't
movie
need
that
to
we're
watch any more movies.
we're barely 1/3 of the way through James's
There's
list.
no morality here.
I don't even think we're a third of the way, man.
Hey,
Well, he had a lot of time to watch movies.
hey,
More time than I think the rest of us did. Considering the fact that he put out a
I am
podcast and
trying to
reviewed
get
a
this
lot of
app to
music
work
and
with
movies
me.
and everything, he rather accomplished quite a bit, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Wheel of Immorality. Turn, turn, turn. What is the next movie that will make your eyes burn?
There we go. I found it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out. It's just there we go. It's like you are not allowed to see your chat with Carrie. No.
Ooh. Wheel of Filth. Wheel of Filth. Wheel of Filth. Come on, Chaos. Wheel
So
of
the next question is, where do people want to find the Joshy?
Find the Jenny.
All
Find the
right.
Friday.
Well, they know where they can find me. You know, I have books out. I'm sure they can do a search on Facebook and come across it. You know, I have an author
Oh yeah.
page and stuff.
Well, this thing is taking forever to load. Go find this book if you want to know what I was talking about. Why my brain automatically reminded me of Princess. Go find out about why we don't want to play with Princess. Okay. I have given a book recommendation. There we go.
We have
Yay.
a wheel.
Yay.
What about my book recommendation? The Last Entry of Grant Gilson. It's my newest book. It's a novel. It's Dark Apocalypse, and I've heard a lot of
But we
good
did
things
that
from
last
people
time.
about it. But you know, it I can't
This
sell
is
books
probably
if
the
it's
best book he's written. So
not out of all the two that I've written. It's the best book I've written.
probably, yeah, it's probably the best book he's written.
Just wait till the next one.
Oh no, it's filled. Hold on.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
I am. I'm looking forward to that. Why are we not wanting to open? There we go. Okay, let's try something. Why are we being a jerk about this? Why am I? What?
There you go. That's the problem with
It's
living in the middle
not
of
wanting
nowhere
to do
there.
the thing. Okay.
It did the thing. What thing are you trying to do?
That's fine.
All right, so Street Trash. It's our next
I am
movie.
trying to find out
To be or not to be?
if it's to be or not. Um, it says it is 5 for free.
Plex.
ANC plus.
So I'm trying to get it to work with me. Okay. It says it is on Tubi and Pluto and Prime. So yeah, it is doable.
for now.
But okay, guys. You can find me at all the places. I'm hiding and pretending to be all sorts of people. And yes, please go check out the book, watch the movies, and I'll put the street trash thing in. And we are going to continue to be on Thursdays moving forward because it's easier for my schedule. And I'm the hostess. So, okay. Ron, Josh, thank you for being here. And I love you both.
Right.
Rar.
And thank you guys for being here. I hope everybody has a great night. Bye.
Yay.